Adjutant online.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, and in today's G Division StarCraft 2 Coliseum we see the honorable Zerg player MTW Dimaga facing off against the Polish Terran player DieStar, and that funny little tag in front of his name means that he is part of the Team Millennium, a team that has really climbed up the ranks this past year. They recruited some truly good players. Once upon a time they had nowadays Liquid Huck, but now they got Tarzan, TOD, Todd, and many others, and DieStar is definitely a Terran player to watch. I've seen a couple of his games in the past, but I have been told that he is indeed a Terran player to be feared, and that this game in particular will showcase that, but we don't know what happens. Dimaga, of course, requires little to no introduction. He's been part of the community for ages back in Brood War, and is so known for his heavy Sauron style way of playing Zerg. That of course means simply mass expanding, mass building of huge amounts of units, throwing them away like Sauron would do with orcs in Lord of the Rings. We are all being nerds, we appreciate those kind of metaphors, of course. Dimaga, one of my favorites, one of my long-time favorites, and here on the map Testbug, we shall see some interesting games, of course. If this is the first time you are seeing a game on Testbug, you might be a bit confused by now, because previously we were in a space tile set, and now this looks like Shakuras or something Protoss Dark Templar-ish, and over here, as you can see, Dimaga Scouting Overlord going away. This looks like Narnia, green grass and everything. Yes, this is indeed a special map called Testbug, and it involves 3 different tile sets in one, but that's not why this will be an interesting match for interesting games. It's because of the other features, which are quite innovative. See here, this high yield expansion. It is obstacled by destructible rocks, not placed here where the command center, nexus or hatchery would be, but in front of the minerals. That means that this is sort of in between a obstacled, which is not actually a verb, but anyway, expansion, and a normal one. You can build your building here, but you need to destroy it here in order to mine from it. So this is an interesting new feature, which I do appreciate. And also we have Selnaga watchtowers here buried beneath the destructible rocks, so you need to dedicate troops to that if you want to use it. Very interesting and neat, I like it. Here we see Dimaga going for a fast expansion, which is being responded to by DieStar with a quick bunker. This could of course be a fake, really. He is sending 1 marine over, but a Zerg player can never really know, is this a dedicated rush? He's actually building a Reaper, so most probably not. If he really wanted to kill Dimaga with this, he would dedicate troops and SCVs, but Dimaga doesn't know that, so he must pull drones in order to be safe, and this definitely disrupts his mining, slows him down, and forces him to respond to what DieStar is doing, which is half the way to victory. And it's actually causing quite a bit of damage here. Looking at the units lost tab, we do see it racking up somewhat, so not a bad start for DieStar. Meanwhile, Dimaga is now upgrading the metabolic boost for his Zerglings. Otherwise not mining any more gas, he will now go into the heavy Zerg macro mode that we appreciate him for. Now I'll take a swig of my casting coffee. Beautiful, that's like a stim pack right there. This Reaper is just hanging out, and now we see the Zerglings destroying this neutral supply depot, and this Queen is chasing away the Reaper. It may be able to inflict some damage, but here on the creep the Zerglings should be able to chase it away. Again, this neutral supply depot that was here, and we see a similar one right here, this has been placed here by the map designers to prevent early wall-ins with bunkers or pylons, which could otherwise be abused in fashion that we've seen much on Metalopolis, the original versions. And here DieStar has now 2 Reapers out. Is he building any more? No, that doesn't look like it. Which is quite unorthodox. Usually you want to use them very offensively and harass. But now he's claimed his fast expansion and is going for double factories, and this will indeed indicate a very heavy Hellion opening, maybe to be followed up by siege tanks. We shall see. Dimaga now moving out, claiming this open Selnaga watchtower. And we'll discover that the Terran player has indeed fortified himself quite well with double Reapers in a bunker. That will definitely give them quite a lot of range, and with their high DPS, that would have been a threat to the Zerglings had they not just run past. Now Dimaga is taking out one SCV, looks like two will fall, but they are being roasted by Zerglings. Two SCVs so far, and maybe a third one, yes, I do believe, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, that was a semi-successful attack for Dimaga. They got a lot of scouting in and managed to make up for a bit of that early drone loss in mining time. Now going for Roach Warren and an Evo Chamber as well as some supply, because of course he knows about the Hellions by now. Infernal Pre-Igniter on the way. Looking at the income tab, we see that Dimaga, true to form, is quite ahead with 4 drones already to his Terran opponent. Dimaga is known for his macro above all. And again, now starting his Roach production, but 5 Hellions, it's now entering the mineral line of Dimaga. The Spine Crawl is beautifully placed, and the Queen manages to prevent them from entering much of the mineral line, but they are roasting these Zerglings. They are victims and sheep to the slaughter, really. However, this is quite a nice choke here. Zerg players, of course, have greater difficulty in walling in than other races, but here Dimaga has made the best of the situation, and by putting his Queen here and units here, he can create a funnel that will quite effectively prevent this sort of Hellion harass. Now these roaches are slow and will not be able to really give chase to those Hellions quite yet. Meanwhile, we now see DieStar transitioning into infantry production, constructing 3 more barracks, making his count into the total amount of 4, and has begun siege tank production as well. Seems like he'll be going quite heavy on that, since he's building a second tech lab on his second factory. Now we see Spire up for Dimaga, and DieStar knows all about that, of course. So Roach Mutalisk looks like it will be. That could definitely combat the mech forces of DieStar quite well. It all comes down to how many Marines and potentially Thors that go with his push, and whether Dimaga will have enough units to respond to that when it comes, because we are not too many minutes away from seeing DieStar's deadly mid-game push, I do believe. Yet another swig of casting coffee and I'm back in the game. Again, DieStar has showed us some interesting games before. He's a bit of a newcomer to me, and I do want to take the opportunity to cast a legend like Dimaga, while at the same time looking up new players to see what the next generation of talent looks like. Here we see Dimaga taking a second expansion. This would be the safer one rather than this high yield one right here, and going ahead with his melee upgrades for Zerglings, and thereby foregoing Roach's upgrades. And that might indicate a transition to Ultralisks if we get that far later in the game. And indeed now Pathogen Glands upgraded also for his Infestors, so Infestors against anything that involves Thors, being able to neural parasite them is a very good idea. And fungal growth, that is always useful to have, especially if you want to pin down Hellions or large blobs of infantry. And this is a very interesting sign here that Blizzard has put out. Real men, real deep, indeed. And now all of these 6 Hellions with Infernal Pre-Igniters roasting away on this hatchery, but of course they're not that good against buildings, but they are excellent against Zerglings, and even these 4 Roaches should feel threatened. So he's able to have quite a lot of map control, DieStar does, with fairly few units. These Hellions are the same ones that attacked earlier, so he's being very cost effective. And now we see here he's amassing quite an army. Still got those 2 Reapers, 15 Marines, 6 Hellions and 5 tanks. This is quite a fearsome force against the 4 Roaches and 18 Zerglings of Dimaga. It may be so that Dimaga has misjudged things. He does not have enough troops. How many are on the way? Not enough. He's got 3 Infestors on the way, but that in itself will not be able to combat this attack. Dimaga might be outnumbered. This could be a disaster for the feared Zerg player from Ukraine, who's impressed us so much throughout the years. Now fungal growthing a bunch of Marines and siege tank, but and again a beautiful fungal growth, but you must have the units to back it up to deal the actual damage. And 3 Roaches will do nothing like that. He's too Infestor heavy, has not produced enough attacking units. Again, these fungal growths, and now adding infested Terrans to the fray. They're doing a lot of damage, but he needed another round of Zerglings and Roaches to handle this. DieStar does not have an invincible army, but he's got simply more units than Dimaga's got right now. Dimaga's producing 22 Zerglings, but he needed them yesterday, which means last minute. StarCraft 2 is a game of seconds, and it seems like Dimaga was a few seconds away. This is Dimaga's defensive attack, now throwing infested Terrans, but the Zerglings are obliterated. The last Hellions have gone down, and mostly Marines and the 2 siege tank left up, but he's building bunkers, indeed sieging onto Dimaga's Zerg base, and this looks grim for our Ukrainian Menace Dimaga, who's a brother of White Raw, if not in blood then in spirit, but it seems like he might be bested here by the Polish usurper, the Terran player DieStar, who's definitely proving that he has got the skills, now sieging Dimaga's fresh expansion. And Dimaga is building 20 Zerglings and 10 Roaches, but will it be enough? By now the Terran player is well fortified. He would have needed so much more, so much earlier. Now we see a Festus again, beautiful fungal growth too. But again, he's just marching his units in to die one at a time, and MTW Dimaga has to GG and forfeit the game to DieStar from the clan Millennium, who is indeed proving to be quite a capable name. Do check out for him out there. He has improved so much since he joined Millennium in February, and he's a great friend to fellow Millennium teammate Tarzan, which is a more well-known name, and definitely someone to look out for. And Testbug always gives us cool games, and some of the features that this map has introduced, such as the Selnaga watchtowers hidden by debris and these semi-obstacled expansions, I like that. That's innovative, and more of that please. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. I'm Sebastian Sjöberg. This is the G-Division StarCraft 2 Coliseum with a new video out every day. If you like it, consider subscribing it, and I'll see you tomorrow. GG for now.